Evening, everyone, and welcome to another one of my top 10 favorite videos. Or should I say, a video about something that's one of my top 10 favorites. This one is going to be about anime. I actually made a top 10 favorite anime list back when Tumblr was first a thing, and I think that was about 2011, maybe. And over the amount of time, I have watched more anime and thought about more anime, and this is my list right now, as of 2019. Um, I'm gonna go through these honorable mentions, and there are quite a bit. This list was not easy to make, although my top five are pretty much always set. But here's these honorable mentions: Niichijo, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Sailor Moon, Panty Stocking with Garter Belt, Bento Box, Do Rah 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 Rah, Eureka 7, oh, almost made the list, Gun Sword, Gun Grave, Inuyasha, Space Dandy, almost made the list, Darker Than Black, Trigun, almost made the list, Full Metal Alchemist slash Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I'm pretty sure was on my last list years ago. So let's jump right on into this. I, if my script would be kind enough to go down, number 10 is Paranoia Agent, which is called a psychological thriller. Give you a little quote from there: is "Fear the boy with the golden bat." Appeared on Adult Swim in May 2005. It is about a social phenomenon in Tokyo where a juvenile serial assailant is going around just beating people in the heads with golden bats. And it's a large cast, and each episode shows how each character is affected by this strange being and this phenomenon. Uh, what I really liked is how every episode was still connected and didn't have to always focus on the first two characters that you meet in episode one and episode two. My favorite episode was the one with the detective's wife. Not gonna spoil what happens in there, but uh, it is very much a thriller to the max. Because I remember watching this on Adult Swim, and I could not wait for the next episode to come out because it was just that good. Um, Let me see. It's one of the few animes I watched that wasn't shonen. By shonen, I mean like punching, kicking, power ups, stuff like that. Only had 13 episodes, so I definitely recommend that you watch it. Uh, since I watched it on Adult Swim my first time, I've seen the dub. It's a really good dub. Please watch this. So how about I don't just give you guys quotes before I give you the title. Don't believe in you. Believe in me who believes in you. My number 9 is Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. These words were made famous by the man, the myth, the legend, Kamina. Shows created by Gainax, which is they're responsible for a whole lot of stuff, and you might see some more of their shows on this list. Um, Basically, in this show, it takes place in the future. Mankind is underground, ruled over by the Spiral King, and Beastmen, patrol the Earth to make sure that mankind doesn't rise above it. But then one day, Kamina and Shimon, please don't say Simon, Shimon, the driller, end up finding their way above with the help of Yoko Littner. So, after that, the series takes off and has quite a few unexpected turns. Um, the people who made this broke off to become Studio Trigger. Studio Trigger makes stuff like Kill the Kill, um, Promare. If you're into Promare, I haven't had a chance to watch that myself. It has so many memorable moments, so many memorable characters. You will tear up if you actually care about these characters. Um, like, have you ever seen a mecha that's as big as a galaxy? You will see that in this anime. I did not watch this thing dub. I watched this thing sub. Just I prefer to watch it sub. I don't even think it came out at the time I watched it in dub. It's 27 action pack episodes. This one's labeled as an action comedy mecha anime, so give it a watch. Bring some tissue. Seriously, bring some tissues. My number 8. The moment you find the courage to give up your life for someone, that will be the moment you understand love. Number 8 is Rurouni Kenshin, called an adventure martial arts romance. Also known as Samurai X, the story takes place in the Meiji era of Japan, which is roughly like 1878, and follows the former Bakumatsu, also known as Hikitori Batosai, or in English, Batosai the Manslayer. His name is Kenshin Himura. He fights with a reverse blade sword, which means the back of the sword facing him is actually a sharp edge, as he has vowed to never kill another person again after he accidentally kills his wife. Uh, the show became, or should I say, started airing in Toonami in 2003. Uh, it has had several manga re-releases. This show is actually the manga for this is actually my favorite manga. I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to making a top 10 favorite manga list, because I don't want this channel to be all about top 10s, but this is actually my favorite manga of all time. Very beautifully written. The excuse me, mangaka Nobuhiro Wasuki. He basically made up the role Rurouni. Rurouni doesn't mean anything. It's just supposed to mean Ronin, and Ronin is a wandering samurai. Uh, there's actually a live action to this that is so amazing. The actor who was in it, if I can look this up real quick, Takeru Sato. I don't know how many of you guys like Kamen Rider, but he plays the main Kamen Rider in Kamen Rider Den-O, which basically propelled his career, and now he plays Kenshin Himura in the live action of this anime, which is fantastic. It looks amazing. If you can find Rurouni Kenshin live action, I think there's 3 movies. Highly recommend that you go watch these. Nobuhiro's he's made a couple of mangas that I liked deeply, and if his name sounds familiar, he's got into some hot water, but I don't really care about that. The stuff that was a controversy has nothing to do with his body of work, and it doesn't even reflect in the work. So, again, watch this. You will know Hiten Mitsurugi. Watch it. You can watch. I watched it dubbed. It's a pretty decent dub, in my opinion. Number 7. Do you know the samurai that smells of sunflowers? That's right. Samurai Champloo is my number 7. It is an adventure comedy anime, and started to air in May 2005 on Toonami's Adult Swim. Follows Fu, Mugen, and Jin as Fu hires them to go around and find the samurai that smells of sunflowers, which I'm not going to spoil for you why she's doing that. And actually, if you haven't watched this, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is actually one of the best animes of all time. Regardless of this being my number 7, it's one of the greatest. It's a follow. I won't say it's a follow up, but it's made by someone who made another anime that's on this list. I highly recommend you watch it. The word Champloo actually means like mix up, and mix up or stirred together, which it's an anime about the Edo period that has rap and R&B in it. Like the music in here, all made by it's Nujobless, and it's another person. It's Kano. I can't remember her name, but the music in here is fantastic. There's no way you're gonna skip the beginning or the end song. It's really hard to find these songs on YouTube because they're copyrighted. They are that good. Rest in peace, Nujobless. Let me see. Is there anything I missed about this? The show is just very beautiful. It looks amazing. It's 26 episodes. Watch them. My favorite episode is with the blind woman. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Number 6. Go further beyond. Plus Ultra. That's right. Boku no Hero or My Hero Academia is my number six. So this show is what happens when Japan takes the concept of Western comic book heroes and just does an amazing job. Like it's one of the best anime of the 2010s era. Period. Uh, Basically, it's about the world. The world people have these superpowers that are called quirks, and we're following the journey and development of Midoriya Izuku. Uh, he was born without a quirk, but he meets the number one hero, All Might, and suddenly his whole world is flipped, turned upside down. It Manga began serialization in 2014, and then the anime started in 2016. I was actually put on by this by a former coworker. I kind of ignored this anime because I'm really not. I haven't been a big fan of current animes because they all almost kind of look the same. But the fight in the first, I want to say first. It's not a training art. It's a tournament. I want to say first tournament, but this is the only tournament I've seen. I'm on the third season. Fourth season is currently going on. Young Izuku is also known as Deku. For those of you who are probably like, who the hell is Midoriya? Uh, I can easily see this show becoming the Dragon Ball of this era. It is so finely done. The story crafting is just amazing. Uh, I personally have not watched any of the dub. I have a hard time listening to some of the newer actors because of their. I just don't feel like it has the same inflection and emotion as the Japanese sub. I uh, I would say a great scene for you to compare and decide for yourself. Watch the All Might versus Nomu fight. Watch in Japanese and in English. I promise you, you will feel 1,000 times more inspired by the full Japanese speech he gives than what is kind of chopped down in the dub. Now, don't give up on your dreams. Go past 100% plus ultra. Let's go on number five. It's over 9,000. That's right. My number five is Dragon Ball Z. It's action, fantasy, martial arts. This is the grandfather of all shonen anime and manga. You like Bleach? Yeah. You like Naruto? Oh yeah, yeah. You like One Piece? Yeah. All three of those mangaka worked underneath Akira Toriyama. They were inspired by this man. I mean, this the show basically started the whole transformation, training to get to a higher level. It made its way to the U.S. in 1996, and let me tell you, the journey of this anime. It went from Fox Kids on Saturdays, went over to Cartoon Network, but before that, it was actually on UPN in the mornings, and it then became the centerpiece for Toonami, which I'm pretty sure most of us, if you're above a certain age, you remember this being on Toonami. And my personal journey with this, uh, I remember on the Saturdays they would cut up the movies, these Dragon Ball movies, and show them as episodes. Garlic Jr. movie episodes, World's Strongest cut up in episodes, and we will always stop right when Goku finally reached Namek. So the day they came on Toonami, they went straight past all that. Let me see. What else do my notes have here? They okay. So since this was one of the first like breakthrough animes in America, you know, Voltron and Speed Racer withstanding, there is some censorship in here. You know, you got Vegeta saying "God damn it," or "I'm gonna kill you," or he flips off people a lot. He flips off people a lot in the early versions of Dragon Ball Z. Excuse me, but the voice work. I've only watched Dragon Ball Z in English. I will only watch Dragon Ball Z in English. I watch Dragon Ball Super in Japanese. And that's because Dragon Ball Super is a newer anime. Um, I seriously can't put into words how much this anime means to me. Yeah, it's number 5, but I can firmly say this just kicked off everything. As with most things on my top 10, a lot of times you can interchange 6 through 10. Uh, this list was rough because I do have a personal connection with some of these, but my number one will always be my number one. So let's go to number 4. You're gonna carry that weight. That's right. It's the space western and neo noir Cowboy Bebop. Arguably one of the best animes of all time. Uh, this is the show that she came out before Samurai Champloo. Made by the same director, made by the same production team. Very beautiful. Uh, it debuted on Cartoon Network in 2001, but it showed up on Adult Swim. This was actually one of the first shows to kick off Adult Swim. A lot of people remember Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Yeah, that came later. Boondocks, that came later. Adult Swim was mostly anime. This is one of the ones that kicked off Adult Swim. The show takes place in the year 2071 and follows bounty hunters Spike Spiegel, Faye Valentine, Jet Black, Ed, and Ein. You. I really don't know what to say about this show. Like, it outdid itself. It outdid itself in Japan when it came out, and it outdid itself over here when it came out. You will notice, because I watched this in English. If you're paying attention to the years in which these came out and how I watched them, you will know how I listen to them. Spike Spiegel plays the voice of Mugen, as well as not Spike Spiegel. Steve Bloom plays the voice of Spike Spiegel and Mugen. I believe Carrie Waldron. I don't think she played Faye Valentine, but she plays Fu. Um, this soundtrack was done by Yoko Kanno, and the seatbelts. There's no way you're skipping the opening soundtrack, or should I say the opening theme, or the ending theme for this, which is Tank and Real Folk Blues. It has a jazz blues sound. This whole soundtrack is amazing. It's on the same level as Samurai Champloo. There's literally no reason for you to not give it a listen. There's really no reason for you to not watch this. Um, it's another 26 episode Dynamo. When you get to around episode 12 and 13, I think my favorite episode had to be the man with the top hat, the laughing man. And if you've seen this anime, which of course you have, right? It's Cowboy Bebop. You know how great that episode was. They're actually now doing a live action, which the cast is amazing. One can just hope that things go right and that they stick true to the source material while putting their own little flavor in it. Toppled with emotional episodes, things that make you question your own philosophies, and an ending that is still in debate to this day. Please, you cannot say that you like anime without having seen Cowboy Bebop. Number 3, Forever for Never. It's the adventure, martial arts, and supernatural anime Yu Yu Hakusho. When teenage punk and delinquent Yusuke Urameshi ends up dying while saving a young girl, his whole afterlife and life becomes flipped upside down. I feel like I've said that already. But the show aired on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim in 2001. The manga started in actually 1990. This is a early 90s manga slash anime, which, Dragon Ball started in the 80s, but Dragon Ball Z started in the 90s. The quality, which is, in my opinion, the quality of anime in the late 80s and all the way through the 90s and early 2000s, amazing quality. Uh, you're not gonna forget the opening for this song. Uh, Listen to it in both English and Japanese. You're not gonna forget any other characters. You will find a favorite character. If not among the main four boys, you will find it amongst the 3 to 4 female characters. You'll find it with Koenma. You'll find it with just Taguro. Dark Tournament is probably one of see tournament arcs and animes nowadays is just kind of a joke. I mean, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are known for their tournaments, which it's about martial arts. But the Dark Tournament is probably one of the better tournament arcs when it comes to fighting animes. Um, One of the reasons why I guess this is my number three is while Dragon Ball Z had everybody powering up, hot. This people had power ups, but they didn't physically change all the time. Urameshi would work out and work hard, and yeah, you'll see some muscle definition, or you would notice he's moving faster, but you don't. You only get one physical transformation in the middle of the Dark Tournament. Uh, you can argue that another character has a transformation in that arc as well, but you don't get Urameshi changing his form until later down the line. Uh, it's it's a really good shonen tale, which yeah, it's in the beginning. You'll notice that there's the guy and then there's the girl that needs to be saving. Ignore all that. I mean, it actually I wouldn't ignore it because it's the basis for their relationship. But just pay attention. Every character needs each other, no matter what role they play in this anime. It's 112 episodes. If you notice, I didn't say how long Dragon Ball was. Should I say Dragon Ball Z was? I didn't say it for a reason because it's pretty long. 112 episodes is not. It's not that long. It's kind of average if you think about it. Give it a watch. Again, do not skip that intro. Number two, I could not find a quote for this, but it's Outlaw Star. It's an adventure, space opera, space western. Gene Starwin and his young associate slash friend Jim Hawking, they are part-time bounty hunters, full-time jacks of all trades, and they find themselves in a load of trouble and in a situation they've never been in before when they take a job from Hot Ice Hilda and find a young girl. Well, not young. She's young. You find a young woman. I won't tell you how they find her. That's in the first 2 episodes. You really should watch this. Um, it began airing in the evening on Toonami. I want to. It was in 2001. I want to say January 2001. Um, All Star also had a late night run in 2002. I do remember that late night run, but I mostly remember the Toonami run. Um, the show was like, how can I have in my notes like Star Wars. I don't want to say Star Wars because nowadays people aren't particularly keen on it. But if you think about the original trilogy, like the world building on here is amazing. Like aliens aren't some far off thing. There are aliens, but not just aliens in this. There is magic. There is mysticism. There is so much stuff in here. And remember, it's a space western. It is very much a space western. The anime style is very different. You're not gonna find many animes that look like it. It looks like an older anime, but it still looks amazing. It's a half step away from being a harem anime, in my opinion, because not only with Melfina, the girl that Jean finds, excuse me, there's two other very strong women with Aisha Clan and Shizuka that I feel like a lot of people sleep on this anime, which is a shame because a lot of people have issues with animes nowadays. You don't get a lot of really strong female characters. Actually, if you do get female characters, a lot of them are busty and curvy and fan service and all that. No, while Gene is very lewd because you find him feeling up a girl, this is this is like typical early, or should I say, late '90s, early 2000 anime. There is not a lot of lewdness in this, and the women pretty much hold their own. They kick ass and they take a lot of names. Uh, it's only 26 episodes, which are you noticing a pattern here? It's only 26 episodes. It's fantastic. My personal connection with this and why it's my number two. I had a friend in high school who, he found out I watched it. I watched this anime all throughout going out of grade school into high school, and then by then they kind of phased it out for other stuff on Toonami. And he let me borrow the he had the Blu-ray box, not Blu-ray. He had the DVD box set. We had Blu-rays back then, and I loved it so much. With my own hard earned chore money, went out and bought it myself. This is the first anime I bought the complete series for. I'm hoping to get the Blu-ray sooner or later because I've watched those DVDs so much that they are just basically getting worn out. Uh, you know, I try to return to this one. Maybe once every 2 or 3 years, maybe I wouldn't say every 6 months, maybe every one, no, every 2 to 3 years, I try to come back to it because it's one of my favorites. If you like Star Wars, if you like westerns, if you like operas, space operas, fantastic show. Even if you think to yourself you don't like those kind of things, I implore you to give this a try. It is my number two for a reason. Um, you you'll feel some kind of way. You won't be as emotional as say with Samurai Champloo or even Gurren Lagann, but this is a good time. And now for my number one, the action comedy science fiction with the kids saying of out the future. Maybe kids don't need the masters, just waiting for the little busters. Oh yeah, it's Fooly Cooley. I say that as if you're supposed to know that, but if you have heard this song before, you know that it's Fooly Cooley, also known as FLCL. It originally aired in Japan in April of 2000, and then it aired on Adult Swim, and I want to say it was August 2003. And what is this show about? And I've been asked this question so many times. Basically, your main character is Naoto. He's a young boy who finds the place that he lives in is pretty boring, finds that life is pretty much boring. But then one day, Haruko Haru comes in, literally runs him over, then hits him on the head with a guitar, and all hell breaks loose on a episode to episode basis. Um, at the time, when it first came out, I felt like I was the only person that liked it, at least in my little area. But it has a big cult following. I mean, it had two more seasons made in 2018, which I didn't even need it. Uh, but that's just how amazing this show is. It's made by Gainax, same people that made Gurren Lagann, same people made Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, same crew that split off and made Studio Trigger. This this has some of the best visuals I have ever seen. There's even was one episode where everything split off into manga panels. There's another episode where they have like South Park like looking art. If you know how South Park looks, that's how they make it. It's just fantastic. The soundtrack is completely composed of this Japanese band called The Pillows. They weren't well known at the time when they were put in there, and that's kind of the feel that the director wanted. He wanted like this. He wanted this show to feel like it was small, and he wanted he didn't want even a hard rock and roll band. He wanted this like soft type band. The music is just out of this world. Like, wow. The if anything, go look up these three songs by the Pillows. It's Little Busters, Runners High, um, the ending song, which is Right on Shooting Star. Look up those three songs. Fantastic, fantastic. Uh, this anime had my first anime crush, which yeah, that's the thing. Uh, I find that a lot of when you talk about that in the Spears, a lot of women tend to lean towards Vegeta from Dragon Ball, but that could be another video for another time. Um, I have seen this show in both English and Japanese. It's only featured in Japanese on Hulu, which the voice acting both ways is just fantastic. Uh, I can remember this show starting out because it was in August, but I remember it starting up on a Monday, and each episode just coming out one after the next. This is only a 6 episode anime. Every episode has something different happening in it, and you feel the progression of time, but it doesn't feel the need to have to show every little bit that's going on. Like, if you wanted to know what was going on with this anime, you watched it one time, you you really have to pay attention because it can go everywhere at like 100 miles a minute. Uh, another like this one here, this anime here gives me so much of a nostalgic feeling when I watch this. I literally watch this anime every single year. Yeah, it's 6 episodes, ha 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 ha, but no, I literally watch this episode every single year. I actually just finished watching episode one last night after I was writing my script for this, and I can just it's a thing that I can just sit down and watch. It's a thing I can have in the background and still know what's going on, even though it's in Japanese. Um, I don't know. Is I was able to connect with this main character at the time. 2000 was it 2003? I was going into high school. This kid is you're in that awkward phase where you're trying to figure out who you are to you, or you're trying to just be. He's the kid that doesn't get the girl. Uh, he's the kid that is trying to deal with having this crush, but it is what it is, right? I mean, if you watch this, I feel that as a viewer, yeah, you might not understand where he's come. You might not have that connection, but you might be able to understand where he is definitely coming from. Um, there's really nothing on this list that has hit me. When I mean hit me, like I sat down and watched this, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." There's no anime on this list that has just captivated me like that. Coming very close to it is Outlaw Star and Yu Yu Hakusho. Um, this is just an amazing show. So sorry it took so long. Try to find a way to file these down a bit, but you know, what are some of your favorite animes? You're gonna give me a top 10? What's your top three favorite animes? Um, this list was difficult to make. You saw that long list of notable mentions. Just some of these shows are very good and they're very well done. They're very, very uh, well made. But when I mean well made, I mean sound, music, characters, the whole nine yards. Um, Having Durarara and Full Metal Alchemist not on this list is kind of hard for me because I also have a soft spot for those two a lot. Durarara, well, I was watching that when I was going through a lot at the time, but I digress. Please comment, subscribe, share this with people. You can listen to this in the background while you're doing a little housework. But yeah. Until next time, I'll be seeing you.